Hello, CNN. I'm sorry if I'm hard on you guys in this because 202. I just quoted that channel, but I'm sure it's all the networks in every modern nation. But you guys are recorded and confessed with the Mueller report, recorded involved with sequence shifts. Trinity College is confessed and recorded from the private police used by off-campus police, also by their students. But they're forging and switching names and attaching me to fake relationships to other students. People associated with the name Alicia also involved with this CCSU federal crimes. Even predicate axe rolls with mail crimes, wire crimes associated with this, with a whole bunch of people associated with the Dr. Brendan Leahy. See, they have from off campuses maintained sustained the same people with the crimes at Trinity College and CCSU still have encounter because they're tied to the people with the child offenders at the campus proven and but further recorded in my area, about a mile from me. And these are people further on off the middle school and the private school next to it. These are private school connected by a method recorded bonding methods, putting fake things in databases. They prevented me for they make trouble. They put you before the people. They're lying the whole time, pretending you're a liar and pretending that's why they're talking like that. Then everyone leaves, and you don't get in trouble. But then they put God knows what in databases, and I know to extent what they do. They're attaching, and these are people involved with judges and courts, police, private police to the school. How that's shared with Stop and Shop. There's some kind of way with Stop and Shop, where he's tied people tied to it with the child offenders clicks with the fire department on off that. Now, WFSB and the state's attorneys are recorded and confessed involved with crimes with houses at the corner of uh, Meadowgate Street and Maple Avenue, and at the corner of Maple Street and Southstein Highway, with judges and police forms and the police chiefs and retired and standing police forms and state police involved with child offenders in my area of all natures of crimes and crime methods, recorded they sustained crime methods. This involves them with Joshua Julian, recorded and confessed and demonstrated a whole bunch of foreign and domestic criminally involved with him. I know his name because they repeated his name to me. The only reason I know John Miano, his name was repeated to me before I ever saw his face because he used to hang out with the kid that came in my grade in fourth grade. I never had a class with him in grammar school or middle school. We had they put me in a middle school summer school class associated with people's associated with a Rick Fayon, associated with medical, military, a whole bunch of people with downtown Hartford, foreign and domestic. Now these are people with peaceful Russian American that they're trying to keep non-peaceful because what they call peaceful is still with uncharged database misprision criminality they share here or there, like with a whole bunch of nations with psychology used for crime methods that are manifest like tricks, like they're buying tricks from stores to fake things, forge names, switch things. They're exploiting anomaly when no one's looking. They're doing crime acts on campuses, leaving no one a means to counter, and no one will put anything in writing. And these are the courts. A whole bunch of people leading up to a 2006 case a district case involved federal crimes before that with Trinity College kids and with CCSU, and then in those cases criminally against me and since crime method pretend I'm trying to talk about my anything bring my father into it with his legal victory and the one that was going on at the time of his death has nothing to do with it. Those same people are involved with federal crimes on and off the Fox Connecticut News, on and off their buildings police, also with their private police and their lawyers, recorded involved with not just WFSB worse, but there are worse other ways. Now there are with a whole bunch of people associated with the Charlie Bowes, and I never had a conversation with him in my life. His sister pretended That's Chris Walters communicated that his sister was pretended she knew me growing up. She's involved with sequence shift people that because my neighbor had a cousin and had cousins he hung around with, and like a Joe DeMoro, who's a Weathersfield police. Other Weathersfield police were involved with painting me to fake locations. I don't even know most of the people in my grade, and I never hung around with him and his cousins growing up. These are people that are involved with identity thefts, also crimes with overt criminal enterprises with a state forensics lab, and where forensics labs collects with people with houses on and off the state judicial branch offices, on and off the prison offices, involve crimes with was two speech teachers I had and kids in the classroom and their family members involved with the Dillon family, who is then and now involved with my new neighbors. I don't know their names though. And the last ones, I don't know their names too. They recorded, confessed, and demonstrated they have more the houses involved, one of them with an untimely death that is involved with people that were haunting the house were involved with that before that. Like, in other words, we have sick people associated with I forgot the names of all of them. I forgot because I don't know these people. They want you to say their names because they were already pretending me into locations, fake locations. A whole bunch of people. There was some kind of things that I guess they had parties. I didn't even know about it near a reservoir in Weathersfield, and they had all kinds of drugs and stuff like that associated with this Dillon family and with Brian Bonin, and it's associated with a whole bunch of police forms associated with the Arch Pizza, associated undercover other nations. These are people involved with DACA. I don't know formally or informally, but at least informally, but it's also formally, different ways. DACA criminally. Now, these are people tied to I barely know them. Mike Roberts, Eric Jensen, Eric Oliveri. These are all people I met through my neighbor, and they put the Eric Jensen in my class. These are people with recorded confessed demonstrate Joe DeMoro crimes with the daughter of with the daughter and a friend of a daughter of John O'Conch, and and his family, other police forms associated with him on and off web school with military, foreign and domestic, criminally foreign influence, involvements with fire departments, apparently directly or indirectly with Russians. And see now there's sequence shifting. CNN's bringing up because they have the Facebook policing was already used for federal crimes, even trade center crimes. Now, see, they have to hire people. They have sensibilities of people for positive, and they say, "Oh, it's just the perfect world." These people, as they're trained, they're going to decide whose behavior is right, whose is not, and they're going to police your platform. So now they have their constitution abridged. They're using this for identity thefts. And then if you call up the same police departments or courts criminally involved, they'll lie about what's actually recorded. They're forging names, switching names into databases, switching sequences, attaching little kids to fake locations through time. The same people, sick natures. This was entrenched here since before our founders were born. This nature of sophistication, before that fake sophistication that is still standing. So Facebook is recorded sequence shifts all kinds of nature's federal crimes with child sex offenders that were they forced it. They used it also to force it insidiously for evidence tricks so they can play crimes inside out of the court and then play stupid like they don't know. The state's attorney's office, criminal involvements with a whole bunch of men and women on and off the state judicial branch offices, with a whole bunch of Mendes police and families, foreign and domestic, associated with federal crimes, attaching me to fake recorded things. With my town's police chief also involved foreign and domestic drug clicks through time. People proven associated with drugs in his family. This is a sick bastard with those people. Excuse my language. The high school, the principal child offender, the recorded problems is greatly because how we have the women involved with the men, especially the women judges and women states attorneys involved criminally, forging names, switching names, preventing free speech, attaching people to fake speech, fake behavior, then lying about the behavior they see and attaching it to that more and more. This is each campus of the eight I went to tied to the same ones with the child offenders. That's how they had confessions about this that didn't even make sense at the time. In a pattern too, with my past neighbors and my new neighbors associated crimes with people on off the location of CCSU, on off Trinity College. A whole bunch of people associated with the Dillon family. Now we see we know, but instead of having me go deeper through all the people in the background, these creeps are using with crimes with that. Everyone's speaking through other with illusions. And we have a whole bunch of other nations here involved with this problem. And then DACA, people are relying on that here. Our species volume, our money systems that are built to keep us divided. If you value that, what they need, because it's the only thing provided, the only nature of money, then you hurt them other ways. You keep it limited other ways, worse than limited, forsaken. That's why people leave their home, beautiful lands, forsaken, tactically denatured. The whole value systems they need reliefs. Everyone at once, every modern nation. You know what it means. Capitalism, communism. They let that only spoken with physical delusions, criminally foreign influence, factory nature. So please fix the fake news because the Mueller report is involved with sequence shifts. You guys were the crimes against mandated law. You guys are with crimes every time you say, "Oh, if I see a crime, I'll have it countered." You guys are doing that dishonestly with the prosecutors. Real bad originally and still. You prevented mandated law right through administrations. Now you have all kinds of headaches for the with the Cuba Russia tied to the downtown Hartford and off Hartford Hospital involved with them criminally still. Whole bunch of people with the Scalora family recorded, confessed, and demonstrated federal crimes with houses in my area. I never saw them in my area. Their family members are involved further with a principal child of a sex offenders campus with more more criminal than him further involved. He's also involved, confessed uh, with others in the past. Mike Levine involved with this. And that's also tied to the stop and shops. They also have the sensibilities of union people associated with when you go by the corners, not just on Maple Street and Metaglade Avenue, and South Steen Highway and Maple Avenue are federal crime acts rules where they pretend they have where they have laws and statutes that say they can tell lies and do fake news. They're using that for what they don't have rights for, and that's what's been facilitating the child offenders enter right through administrations with locations next to the religious spots connected to foreign and domestic military corruption. How they maintain motivated to it, or they share nave policing. The what is peaceful is only positive in relationship to what is only positive in relation to factual nature, calm and halfway sane, but it's only positive in relationship to insane. You think that what could build those kind of machinery and things like that, and from a self-valued, even glorified, tactically denatured relationship to nature, means to infrastructure, forced by the founding torture and slavery of our founders, zoning laws that forced grouped nations sick. We're forced group by nature itself. But when we're forced group by the systems other, nature itself is going to show negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. Acts like predicate acts. They have to be attributed to groups to be countered. So they attribute them to the wrong things. That's facilitated the victims of criminally foreign influenced sciences. Hey, LB4, G5, the lost killers, y'all. Those are people tactically forsaken. We have to legalize marijuana more than legalize it. The whole fact treatments with that are involved. For example, self-defended. These are roles that get people to pretend pseudo positive, pretend theater positive, pretend that things are inseparable, that are separable, that are inseparable. And that's exploited ahead of time, especially women. You can't follow mandated law now because you worked with other. You're not supposed to. You guys are all kinds of hearsay racketeering, evidence racketeering natures in the Britain Superior Court through time. I feel bad for your souls, and I feel bad for us more though. So we need a response because we have judges involved with this, retired and standing, and the women judges, three or more. Then all the state's attorneys, they have confessions that are bred through this. Then you have mass people, men and women, all making opinions about other people with their physical delusions and their criminally formulated village fact treating nature. Their own family members involved criminally. Their sexual circles. Their fake conversations with me growing up. With this, we're attaching kids to fake locations. That's the worst thing, though, because how they exploit that. There are a whole bunch of police forms associated with and families associated with confessed recorded to me as strangers that did tricks to get us towards their wedding and to a wedding party to make it look like we weren't strangers by switching names with someone with the same name too. I saw as people tied to the Alicias with Magdalena's, Maggie. No, these are just victims. That's then they make people make opinion. Then they make us fight about debatable before, and because they want to make the wrong outcomes because the courts were using CCSU criminally through time because of their live progressions in a state stream. They were using the other ages of campuses because all the people from off the campuses on off them using it, keeping the sensibilities of everyone fake manners, identity theft racket roles, crime methods everyone's missing because they're forging names and switching names. Now, the former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, is involved with the sequence shifts. But we have to have mandated law to show this. These aren't people involved with child offenders. They're pretending not to realize they're presenting mandated law, and worse, by pretending to care about Mueller allegations. Former director of the FBI was a former standing chairperson on RICO law, Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organization Act. His co-defendants, have a daughter involved with people with the extended family member involved with the child offenders, and with the family members of one of them, family members of one of them involved. I don't know about the other ones too, but involved with Stop and Shops criminally with other police forms. Something they're ducking behind with Town Line Road Stop and Shops. People associated also criminally with all kinds of medical corruption, database crimes, overt criminal enterprises crimes, crimes with the Mendez brothers, a whole bunch of people associated with a Samuel Dix house, attaching me to fake locations, fake ties to other with that area there, next to the high school, next to the middle school. Through time, people involved with those two speech classes I had, crimes with people that didn't go to my campus but lived next to it on the other sides of it too, attached to that Mike Pandolf put in my speech class, with a whole bunch of people tied to Washington criminally with that. They have crime methods making people perceive illusions like actors, and you don't even know about it because you're not in with the conversation with them. These are timed relationships to databases. These are also sequence shifts where they have the whole age groups with people painted into fake locations. Then they'll have someone make it so they can. So the thing is, New York Game, please help me. Our CNN. Please help, because you guys are not following mandated law, and they use Facebook. You bring up Facebook. They're recorded federal crimes with a Leahy family's federal crimes with former director of the FBI down with crimes also confessed and demonstrated and recorded with Russian families. A woman repeated to me that she's Russian, associated with Hartford Hospital. She's crimes with foreign and domestic, like Pakistani, sick people, forging names, switching names, drug crime rolls with child sex offenders, with their patients and criminals before they were there. Crimes with a whole bunch of FBI, with CIA and their family members, real sick punk fakes. We're having their daughter pretend she knows me because they're stuck now. Now, Phil Clolo and Subby Scalora, and then the rest of the Scalora family recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with the crimes, with the people with Sandy Hook, Newtown, Old O'Brien's, in collusion with the Claw House used, and the people on off the child offenders campus, and all the corners on that street. A whole bunch of people associated with New Britain Superior Court recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with a whole bunch of natures of federal crimes through time that are connected. This is worse than extortion. They took my ID. All they told me is that off campus police took it. And they don't give names. They forge names, switch names. Then they say they're Darth Vader. They have people interstates involved with this. Get the police guy from Darth Vader to figure out if he's the on campus or off campus too. Not just those on off campus police. These are off campus, like people associated with federal criminals. CIA and FBI recorded crimes with Hartford Hospital's campuses. Russian and Cuban people associated with this. Whole bunch of people, foreign and domestic, associated with Scalora family, with identity thefts against me, fake conversations with me, with other family members of the kid who came in when fourth grade too. And then these are people involved with crimes with a Prusy family, and people associated with who the guys who run prisons and all the ranking with, and their family members. These are people at the end of both ends of New Park Avenue. Note there's a Planned Parenthood at the end of it. They keep you fake sides using identity of the ground ties to fact sheet nature. This is tied. This don't is critical that we counter the child abuses and the woman roles through generations. If you call up the phones, they're being coached to this by the Wethersfield police chief, by on-off campuses sustained sick people, a whole bunch of them tied to the house in my area, criminal with the kids, and with the names, and with preventing writing since I was a kid. Hurry up! Hurry up! Get me a response, CNN. Let's go. Please stop with the Muller sequence shifts or follow mandated law. This comes first. This is also tied to proven Ninth Circuit sequence shift had been post-dated docket shown to the panel judges right before the Trade Center attack, proven afterwards. Tied to further crime natures like that with Connecticut courts, the same ones interstates. The same ones first facilitated to uses of and to further facilitating federal crimes, evidences crimes, perjury, racketeering crime rules. You associated with and as the recorded uses of the fake news crime acts of WFSB, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated they're involved with child abuses and being coached to hide it by courts and by their private police and their lawyers being used criminally consciously. They attach me to fake conversations with them. They're preventing mandated law. Now, these are people also associated with it as people associated with CNN sources. And it already made them take up defense of positivist criminal and seditious nature. So now they're trying to defend themselves. They're all victims doing it for jobs, Value nature system mother, per trick like a magic trick to pretend not to realize that being used for federal crimes, but then they keep going and using the Department of Justice. Oh, this guy should be thrown in jail. These are crimes against Manafort. I don't know what he's involved with. I don't know evidence of that. Evidences are recorded of crimes against him with this, leading up to the Trade Center attack in it and since. You should fear Mike Pence, not us. You should all get down. I'll gather around. Let's get the names for the military then too, or get the campuses to respond. Get them to one name. The deans are crimes, criminal uses of the deans, forging names, switch names. They even have the deans insidiously with their family members involved with the drug crimes with their doctors too, undercover. All by the people associated with Ray Reynolds was with a women involved with drugs with them with the family members with psychology interwoven involved with social families. I don't know them. They made it look like that. That they're involved with Eric Jensen also recorded, confessed, demonstrated he's involved with database crimes with them. Attaching me to fake locations, fake relationships. They also did some kind of acting with Corone Brothers. They're also recorded and confessed involved with CCSU, with other criminal justice campuses like Middlesex, and then medical corruption. These are people involved in crimes with their families, with the state police, in their states. They pretend things recorded into databases per an art form method. Follow them into the law, please. Please respond to the further Trade Center crimes and extortion. This is worse than extortion and torture. In a straight line, I begged to have my voice heard. They lie about what's recorded. They attach me to fake conversations with people from my town. These two Mendez police. Now, these are people involved further with child offenders. And other, well, especially the stories made up about the people that they got shot. Because also crimes out off the Trinity College with more. Be sure. Fire departments too. Sexual circles associated with the sisters of of and there's also people associated with those political parties associated with so I want to use the name because I don't know which one's which side, and they're not. It's nothing about. They're both sick fakes, both sides of parties, all alternatives, because they came through criminally foreign influenced sciences. That's what honesty says when you ask what our impositions are really responsible by. We have theater positive speaking for everyone. We have sequence shifts. They're using Muller to pretend not to realize while they're offensively preventing mandated law. They're offensively lying when they say that they care about who commits crimes or not. These are high crime natures recorded, dead cold. They're pretending other because they're faking things recorded into databases. Please help CNN so we can have this, and so they need. This is also other nations, a whole bunch of nations. Now they have the end of the of like the of Franklin Avenue involved further with and near Hartford Hospital involved a whole bunch of people with this Dillon family and this those names associated with the houses in my area. I can't get a response. I don't know their names. I want and they're gonna lie about my behavior, so I need a writing response. And